All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So, today we're going to be going over basically how our government got started. Where did we build our influence from? Who did we look to in the past and say, yeah, that's a great idea. We should have that. And basically how what got the ball rolling, not just for our country, but other countries as well. And basically you'll see how every empire, every um, great country basically piggybacked off another country, got their great ideas, and added a little bit more to it. Okay, so today's objective, we're going to analyze how the Magna Carta changed the world. You're going to find out what it was and why was it so significant. Or examine the importance of the petition of rights, and we're going to create an argument on whether a person in power would be willing to give up their power. Okay, so here's your warm up picture. Now, the thing is, if you notice in the picture, there's like three documents on the inside of the chest. But if you look on the outside, there's like coins, which we could only assume is like gold. And if you look, there's like three bags, more likely of gold on the outside. Isn't a chest supposed to keep things safe? Why aren't those gold on the inside? Why do they have those documents on the inside and the gold on the outside? So think about it, right? What is this artist trying to say about those three documents? Okay. So again, think about it, pause the video, write your response, because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right. So the Magna Carta, this is it. This is a picture of it, right? It means the Great Charter. Sorry, the Great Charter. It was signed by King John in 1215. Basically, his nobles were upset with him. They're telling him, you think you're up here, you think you're way above us, but without us, you wouldn't have much, you know? So they basically made him realize that, yeah, you're the king. If the nobles say no and turn their back on the king, if all of them do it, where's the king's power? You know? So yeah, he signed this document saying, yeah, okay, I'm gonna relinquish some powers. Yes, I'm a tyrant. I'm too big, my head's too big. The thing is, these rights were only truly meant for the nobles, not really the average Joe. But as time went on, it kind of shifted from just the nobles to everyone else. Okay. And what did it protect? It protected people from an unjust punishment. So the king couldn't just throw you in jail just because he didn't like your face. No, couldn't do that. You had to commit a crime, do something bad in order to be punished. Also, the king couldn't take your life, couldn't just kill you because you looked at him funny. No, no, there has to be a purpose and it has to match with the crime. You can't just kill somebody because, oh, he owed me $5. No, you know. And freedom and property, you can't lose it unless you broke a law. Okay. So that was big because now there's laws protecting people and limiting the king's hold. Now in 1625, Charles I took power and he basically told the parliament, which is the voice of the people, I don't need you. Go away. I'm the king. I know what people want. I know what the people need. So he placed troops in people's homes, not only as a military tactic, but also for them to spy on people, make sure people were saying good things about him and weren't planning to do anything to him. And he placed some places under martial law. So the military basically took over towns, parts of towns, and things like that. So yeah, it was pretty bad. So in 1628, uh, things got really, really bad. By that time, and he decided, okay, okay, I'll put Parliament back together. But Parliament was like, no, we're not coming back together. We're not going to help you out because what you did, you disbanded us for your own thinking you're chingon, thinking you're all this and that. No, we're not coming together unless you sign this paper saying the petition of rights that's saying that you can't do certain things. Otherwise, good luck getting everything together, controlling all this chaos that you created. So Charles the First is like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. What do I need to sign? And he signed it. And that's the paper right there you see in the picture. Basically, now the king couldn't collect taxes. He couldn't say, oh, I'm going to put a tax on this, I'm going to put a tax on that. No. If he wanted to put a tax, Parliament had to say, okay. He couldn't just put a tax. Okay. Um, the king, again, couldn't just throw people in jail just because, you know, like, oh, I know that he broke the law, so I'm going to throw him in jail. What proof do you have? You have to have proof. You just can't throw people in jail. You can't just punish people just because you said, you know. Um, Again, another big one. No more soldiers in people's homes unless the people give permission. You know, that's what that old saying, uh, a man's home is his castle. That's your own, that's your domain, that's your place. Nobody can come in and say, the government can't come in and say, this is ours. We're putting people in here. No. Also, the king can't declare martial law unless the country is at war. Granted, yes, we may need soldiers in the town if there's a war going on to protect it. But until that war happens, soldiers should not be taking over towns, controlling parts of towns. So that was the petition of rights. Now, here's the thing that became pretty interesting. Um, in 1688, King James II was removed from his throne by Parliament. Again, he thought he was big chingon. He thought he was I'm the king. What are they gonna do to me? Well, they showed him. Kind of that mess around and find out type of thing. Yeah, he found out. Okay, so in his place, they put, I believe it's his nephew, William the Third, and his William's wife, Mary the Second, which you see in that painting right there. Now the thing is, William is pretty smart. Okay, he realized, he saw the writing on the wall. What's going on? So he basically said, okay, yes, I am the king now, but I'm going to give some powers away to Parliament. You know, I'm going to relinquish some power to you, Congress. Let you guys decide on things. Now, this became known, that transfer of power, as the Glorious Revolution because there was no fighting. Every type of revolution we've ever had in the history of the world, there's been some type of fighting, one way or another. Here, he basically just gave it up, gave up power. Um, Not all power, but a good chunk, just because he realized, hey, the tide is turning, you know, and this is where, like I said, I think his uncle messed up, so I'm not going to make that mistake. Okay, so the new king and queen gave power to the people and parliament. Okay. So this gave rise to the English Bill of Rights, which was adopted by Parliament. Okay, and as you can see from that paper, that's it right there. And the thing is, it set clear limits on what the rulers could and couldn't do. And basically, one of the first things it said was the ruler, the king, whoever it may be, ruled with the consent of the people. If the people didn't like their king, they could get rid of him. Okay. Parliament, the Congress, is needed to suspend laws, taxes, and maintain an army. So now Congress has more of that power. The Parliament, which is again the name for Congress, um, controls that, and not the king. That's a big one. The king and queen can't interfere with elections and debates. They basically are there to, they can, you know, say, oh, yes, I think we should vote for this. I think we should vote for that person, things like that. But they can't stop a vote from happening. They can't stop people and Congress from discussing the issue and things like that. Okay. People have the right to petition the government, right? If they don't like how things are going, the people can step up and say, I don't like this. I think we're messing up. I think we should could do this or do that. Okay. And they had a right to a fair and speedy trial. Because again, back in the day, before this time, before the English Bill of Rights, kings and queens could hold people in prison for as long as they wanted. Some people never got a trial, you know, just the way it was. But now they said, no, 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 no. You get arrested, you're charged with a crime, you're going to stand before a judge, have your lawyers, and, you know, it will be done in a reasonable amount of time. It's not going to take 8 years just to have a trial. Okay. And also, last thing, people would not be subject to any type of cruel and unusual punishment. Yeah, people were tortured back in the day. If you remember back from your world history class, you may have learned about the Inquisition, how they used to torture people. You know, so yeah, no more torture, no more, pulling out people's fingernails, that kind of stuff. No, none of that, no more. Now, one of the first documents here in the New World in America was the Mayflower Pact. Basically, this document was signed by the 41 men who represented the Pilgrim families that came here, back on Plymouth Rock and all that stuff. And they needed rules to govern themselves, so they got together and they came up with this pact of rules to follow. Okay, excuse me. They chose their own leaders and make their own laws that would benefit them. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Um, Benjamin Franklin wrote up this thing called the Albany Plan of the Union. Now, the thing is, it was turned down by the Continental Congress and other delegates and some of that because it gave too much power to an assembly made up of representatives from the 13 colonies. People were thinking, no, 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 the states should have more rights than the federal government. And this gave rise to the Articles of Confederation, which we're going to be talking about uh, in a little bit. Okay. Now, Richard Henry Lee proposed to the Second Continental Congress that the United Colonies should be free and independent. Okay. They said, yeah, that sounds good. So on July 2nd, 1776, the Second Continental Congress agrees to Lee's resolution, and by July 4th, 1776, Thomas Jefferson writes the Declaration of Independence. Okay. That's when his final draft was signed and approved. And again, there's the document right there. Okay. The Declaration of Independence is broken down into three parts. The first part states its purpose and about human rights. What is this Declaration of Independence about? And, you know, talking about human rights and what we all deserve as people, here on this earth. The second part was basically complaining about King George III, describing how he violated the colonists' political, freedoms, civil freedoms, the economic freedom, with all this taxes and acts and things like that. So yeah, the third part states the colonists' determination to be separated from Britain and how they tried to make peace with Britain. They offered him the olive branch petition, but he didn't even read it. They offered him like, hey, saying, we'll still follow you. Just ease up on these acts and these taxes, and let our voice be heard in Parliament. And the king said, no, he didn't even read the paper. He just tossed it. Okay. But now that they've tried every single action to avoid war, now they have no choice. And they have to declare their freedom and fight for independence. So that's what the Declaration of Independence is, what it means, what it says in a nutshell. Okay. Now, here's my question to you. Do you think any president, king, queen, or whatever type of leader today would give up their power that they have right now? What do you think? Do you think anyone would say, you know what? I'm going to give up my power as the leader, president, whatever. I'm going to hand it off to another person. What do you think? Do you think they're capable of that? Now, if you notice, there is no writing prompt. Yeah, I know. This is not by mistake. I did this on purpose because I want to see, since we've been doing writing prompts for the past month, let's see you start a sentence. Let's see how you do now on your own. So let's see if you can start a sentence properly to be answering the question. Now, how do you know if you're writing a sentence properly? Well, if you read it without knowing the question, does it make sense? So if you put yes, yes, they could. Well, what are you talking about? That could mean anything, you know. But if you put something to the effect of, no, I don't think any president or queen could give up their power today because they are la 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 la. Now you know, hey, that's what the question's about. Okay. It's stated in the answer. Okay. So try your best to um, respond to this on your own. Okay. So once you do that, you're done with this lesson. So hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later.